buddy. This is basically a test. I'm testing a new piece of software to me called Restream, trying to see what happens if I tell this to go, whether it actually is accessing the right camera, if the audio is okay, and if it's sending it to the various sources that I've set up, which is basically all the social media channels that I run. So that's what I'm doing right now. You know what? Since it's late and I didn't announce this or anything, but I'm gonna just go to one of my channels and see if there's anything happening, because I don't see anybody jumping into a chat room. So I'm not sure if this is actually working or not. Well, oh, it looks like it is working. Okay. Looks like I've got a few people from YouTube showing up. Hello, Beowulf, Elmer, and Iron Shell. Basically, guys, I'm just trying to do a test of some streaming software here. This is not my, normal camera. It's not my normal, drawing type of live stream. I'm just live streaming to sort of test, but I'm happy to chat with anyone that drops in. Feel free to ask questions. What's the issue? It works? Okay. Basically, I'm just curious if people actually hear me when I'm using this. I'm using Restream. And what am I drinking? Asks Matt from Twitter. It's a Game of Thrones beer. Apparently, it's Three-Eyed Raven. It's pretty good. It's a pretty dark ale. But yeah, pretty boring these days, getting cooped up at home. So let's say hello. Let's say hello, Tobias. Hello, Wild Triangle. So cool. At least I know that it's working then through both YouTube and Periscope through Twitter. That's pretty cool. Have you kept up with any recent comic events? I'm not a huge comic event guy in general, so I wouldn't say that I'm super up to date. I mean, I try to read up on social media what's going on, and then depending on what kind of reviews or responses, I may read some of the more recent stuff. I do go to a comic book store regularly. Well, maybe not now, but in general I do. And so I try to keep up, but I don't read a lot. I don't read a lot of new stuff right now. A few things. I guess I've got my pile of comics in the other room. But this is some of my new set for moving forward. This is what Comic Tropes is going to look like. I've still got my spinner rack, and I've got my Gachapon machine if I need it. But yeah, I've got a shelf that I'm filling up with various, comics that are important to me or that I worked on. And, I wanted to put up my YouTube award because I'm kind of proud of that. This is not a Corona beer. This is a Game of Thrones Three-Eyed Raven. It's pretty good. It's a pint, so I'm doing all right. What are all of you reading these days? I'm streaming this also to Twitch. I set up a Comic Tropes Twitch account. We'll see what happens with that. What else? And it's streaming to the Comic Tropes Facebook page, the Comic Tropes Twitter account, and the Comic Tropes. No, not Comic Tropes is YouTube. My second channel, which is Pros and Cons. I'm holding up okay, James. Little bored. Whoa, what's that? Super Heart 33 Tier 0. Okay, cool. I have to admit, I don't know what a Super Heart is yet, but thank you. It looks cool. Yeah, a little bored. Can confirm it's working from Twitch. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Just set that up tonight, so that's brand new. I wanted to start reading Morrison's Doom Patrol run, but I forgot to do it. Well, definitely do that. That's some of his best work. A graphic novel about the life of Dietrich Bonhoeffer called The Faithful Spy. Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds good. Just picked up Batman and Robin by Tomasi and Gleason Omnibus. It's great so far. I've heard lots of good things. I'm not super familiar with Peter Tomasi's writing, but apparently I should become familiar because lots of people say that they enjoy his work. Dread. Okay, there we go. There we go. Another super hard. I don't know what a super hard is. I don't think it's money, but I appreciate it. Yeah, so, just hanging out. This is a test, but you've all already helped me because I can see that it's working through. It looks like every channel that I set up, except for the Facebook page, but I'm sure that it's working there if it's working at all of these other places. Yeah, I just wanted to try that. There's a software called Restream, so it sends the stream to like all your channels at once. I thought that might be a good way to do live streams moving forward when I either draw or, what I'm hoping to do at some point soon is maybe do some interviews. Maybe during some of this downtime here, I'll be able to reach out to a professional or two and see if we could get like a live stream going, like where we could chat. I think that could be interesting. Yeah, you folks didn't necessarily see it on YouTube because it's not going to the Comic Tropes channel. I set it to my Pros and Cons channel, which is my second channel. I sort of get dinged by YouTube if I live stream to my Comic Tropes channel. That'll get a lot less views than a typical video. And so then they start sharing or recommending my videos. So that's kind of frustrating. So I set up a second channel for my live streams. You are wearing the same shirt from yesterday. That's entirely possible. I am not going out. I am not going out a lot. But all I can say is I also didn't run or get super sweaty in it. Maybe that is a little gross, but yeah, I did wear this shirt yesterday. Recently enjoyed Decorum and Mercy from Image. Image is putting out some great stuff these days. Strike Force Moratori. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, Jack, thank you for the comment. I'm doing good. Let's see. What do you use for your video camera? Well, this is just my laptop's camera. There's nothing fancy about it. I've got a DSLR camera. I've got a Canon Rebel DSLR that I use for the show. I haven't figured out how to connect that yet. Car business is closed, Beowulf. So everything right now is closed in my state unless it's essential. And they've been pretty strict with that definition. It's grocery stores, it's pharmacies, not a lot else. Maybe gas stations, but not much else. So, I'm just doing YouTube for the next 2 weeks or so, and then we'll see what happens. Could you tell us what the next video could be about? Well, I'll let you know that there's a hint in the background. It has something to do with something that's going on in my background. So that's a pretty big hint, I think. What else? Are you using the laptop mic too? I am right now. And I'll try to figure out how I connect my DSLR and my Rode shotgun mic so that this could be even better. This part was really just a test to make sure that it connected and everything. I love Ninja Turtles, man. I got this recently. I built this cabinet. It's really cool. And I got something to put on my shelf. I got myself, I've got a huge Donatello collection. So I've got a Donatello here that I need to put up on the shelf behind me. This is from Mondo, who mostly makes prints and maybe t-shirts, but they also made some really high-end Ninja Turtles figures. Yeah, I can see your messages, Clay. It sounds fine. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that, like, my little Microsoft Surface is decent. Justin says his job is also closed. Back to writing and YouTube for now. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a kit, but yeah, I built this. It's a kit. Dawn is your favorite too? Dawn is my favorite, so yeah. Let's see if I can get this guy out of here. He's deeply embedded. I dropped out the baby turtle. It comes with a baby turtle. That's kind of cool. And then the big full Ninja Turtle. We've got the comic accurate red bandana, or the later cartoon and movie versions that have purple. And then you've even got an Utrom down here. I won't call it a Krang because this is definitely based on the comics. That's an Utrom. And then there's a bunch of different like hands that come with it if you want to have like certain ninja accessories. Anyway, so I want this guy to be up on my shelf. Looks like I've got some unboxing to do. You didn't realize you're tuning in for an unboxing video. Worst unboxing video ever. Maybe. Maybe so. What else is going on? That is one big turtle. Not big enough. Restream crashed on my end for a sec. Oh, interesting. When did this start? Just a few minutes ago. Last video was interesting. I met Jim Shooter a long time ago at a convention. Oh, that's cool. I would love to talk to him. He sounds like a really interesting guy. I mean, sometimes I wonder if pros would even be willing to talk to me after I make these episodes. You know, I don't know if they'd be annoyed or flattered or what. Cool Donnie figure. Pee pee poo poo. Pee pee poo poo. I see Powers of X6 peeking up there on the top shelf. What a great series. Oh man, it sure is. Sure is. Wait, where's Powers of X? Oh yeah. Way up top there. Yeah, I got some interesting comics here. The Akira box set is one of my favorites. This is hard to open. I'll come back to this. Let's take a look real quick at the set. Got the Comic Tropes YouTube award for crossing 100,000. Thank you to all of you for that. Got a huge Madman omnibus. Big fan of Mike Allred. I've got the art of Brian Bolland. I always thought it was Boland. Today I realized that his last name is pronounced Bolland. Rhymes with Holland. Oops. Crisis on Infinite Earths slipcase. That is a gorgeous... Here, I'm going to take it out for a minute. This has a gorgeous painted wraparound cover by Alex Ross. And is kind of the main reason I got this. You've got this like gorgeous piece here. Look at that. I know that isn't the finest camera angle or anything, but it just has like every character in it, and as well as a lot of big moments in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I thought that was a gorgeous piece of artwork. I really like that. What else? You've been reorganizing for months. Spent the first 2 days of my quarantine reorganizing my comic collection. That sounds nice. I would like to get mine reorganized someday, but I don't have that much left. Promoting New Universe. Congrats again on the YouTube award. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, for making that happen. It means a lot to me. Anyway, yeah, this is a really nice slipcase edition, though. Comes in a nice silver case there. Anyway, what else do I have here? Oh, I don't, you know what? Here, let me move this chair out of the way. I got this recently. Ninja Turtles #5, first print. This is the only thing that I have that's CGC graded. That doesn't mean a lot to me. This was just how this one was being sold, and I was like, all right, that's cool. I had this comic as a kid, but I sold all my comics several years ago when I moved across the country, and I wanted to reclaim a few of them. And this one was a big deal because this is the first time the Ninja Turtles had a color cover, full color, I should say. Before that, it was just one color, and they moved to the traditional comic book dimensions. Before that, they were slightly oversized. Yeah, Najiyad. I have read Scud the Disposable Assassin, and I made an episode about it. Oh, I also got this pretty recently, the Spider-Man Superman crossover. So, I don't have a lot of comics right now, but I have a few interesting sort of bits and bobs of history mixed into my collection. I've got a Mike Mignola art book. Of course, I've got Will Eisner's. I thought this was Contract with God, but it's The Big City, New York, the Big City. This is a really interesting book that Dark Horse put out a number of years ago, maybe like a decade ago, called The Artist Within, and it's all interviews with various comic book artists. It's a really great book. One of the Invincible omnibuses, because I proofread all of those. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Into the Dark. I almost said Spider-Man Into the Dark. That was the terrible play. Well, I shouldn't say terrible. It was a musical. And you know what? It was troubled, and maybe I should make an episode about it, but I actually did see it on Broadway. It was all right. It was all right. Still have my first print TMNT 2 through 20 and second reprint of number 1. Oh, I'm jealous, man. I love Ninja Turtles. That is really, really cool. Does Restream just kind of consolidate all the different chats for you? Yeah, I've got like one thing that shows all the chats, and there's like a little icon that tells me which source it's coming from. Let's see, what else do I have up here? I've got like, there's a bunch of books on how to make comics, like how to self-publish, various interviews with writers on techniques and stuff. I've got the Eternaut, I've got some Lock and Key, Perry Bible Fellowship. What else is in there? I don't know. Got a Larry Hama signed G.I. Joe book. Blankets is a book I like. A couple books that I've worked on, like Trickster and Battle Pope. And what else have I got up here? Some that I still need to read. Like Headlopper and Justice League by Snyder. Morning in America by Mags. Monstrous. Some of these I still need to read. Anyway, so just some random comics. Just some random things that I just felt like having on my shelf behind me. And someday I'll probably put some more things that like are, they mean something to me on an emotional level. So, anyone here played The Mummy Demastered? No, don't know what that is. Sorry. I don't have How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. You know what? And I don't think I ever had that as a kid. I had a friend that had it, so I have read it. John Buscema, I believe, did all the art in that, and it was really interesting and cool. I also had a friend that had the Marvel Tryout book, the one that Mark Bagley won that contest and became he got hired by Marvel. Do you like the Civil War movie or comic more? Definitely the movie. The movie at least kept the characters likable. I don't really care for Civil War or Civil War II by Marvel. I don't care for either of them. I think it really mischaracterized a lot of characters. I'm not overly whatever. It all goes back to the status quo at a certain point. Let's see, folks saying hello to each other. That's awesome. Favorite Marvel event? Probably it's going to be based mostly on nostalgia, but the original Infinity Gauntlet story. Because it didn't just come out of nowhere. It was like it had been building up to it mostly through Silver Surfer. And then they had 6 issues. You didn't have to read a ton of tie-in stuff to have it make sense. There was just 6 issues, and it really felt epic. And so it also had some great George Perez and eventually Ron Lim artwork, and I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. Let's see, Stan Lee's Guide to Creating Comics. Oh, you've got it for a month because your library's closed. Yeah, it's so tough. All right, see you, Justin. It's tough to find things to do, aside from work on personal projects. I can't go to the library. I can't go to the movies. I'm going to probably watch some Netflix, draw, and do YouTube. I am working on YouTube stuff. So Secret Wars was a lot of fun. The first Secret Wars. I didn't really care too much for the second Secret Wars. That was kind of a mess. But the first Secret Wars was pretty fun. It was a blast. And the artwork, I love. I'm a huge fan of Mike Zeck. Mike Zeck is a great artist. I remember Contest of Champions, sort of the precursor to the big event stuff, because it was only 3 issues and had just about everybody. That was definitely cool. That was definitely a Jim Shooter thing. He loved putting everybody together, making it seem like a big event. Well, it was. He created events. You know what it doesn't tell me in my sort of metrics here is it doesn't tell me how many people are in each chat thing, or how many people I'm talking to. So that's sort of something I'm missing. It also doesn't allow me to put up sort of my own custom, say Comic Tropes logo over here, or maybe a link to my coffee account. You have to pay $50 a month to put that stuff up. So that's a sort of a hassle with this Restream software. But what's cool is that it's bringing together all the different social channels at once. Yeah, this is basically the new set. This is basically the new set behind me. And it looks a little different than it will, like when the nice DSLR camera is aimed more sort of downwards. It'll sort of be cropping like right around here. So it'll be aimed a little down at me. How do I feel about Jaime Reyes? I think he's a pretty cool character. I'm not an expert on him, but he strikes me as a cool character. 9 watching now in pros and cons. Okay, so not a ton, but that's still nice that I've got anyone with no advance warning, and I'm not like drawing or anything. I'm not interviewing anyone, just sort of chatting with everyone. I'm grateful that anyone's here. This is really just a test, but I just didn't want to bone out the second people started dropping in. It's always nice to talk to all of you. I really appreciate the support. I really do. It means a lot that so many people watch Comic Tropes. Do I like Crisis on Infinite Earths or Secret Wars more? I guess, if I had to choose, I'd probably like Secret Wars more. For a couple reasons. Crisis is interesting, and it did something interesting. It rebooted things. I don't think it has as coherent overall narrative. It's like all big cosmic stuff happening, and a lot of characters, they're just like coming in for a page or so and then, zipping right out of there. And I love George Perez's artwork. I definitely do. But personally, I do like Mike Zeck's even more. And the cool thing about Secret Wars is it's definitely a clear narrative. Like, omniscient being transports supervillains and superheroes to a remote planet and makes them fight. And various people transfer their alliances and stuff while that's going on. It's really cool. No big hamburger in the background here, but if I do my live streams downstairs, I've got it down there, so I can set that up again. I never saw any Marvel Blacklight posters. I'm not surprised that they existed. I bet that some of that Jack Kirby art would look fantastic in blacklight. Like anything that has Kirby crackle could look awesome. You like the shade of blue that the walls are? I do too, personally. They were like this when I bought this house, and I was like, I'm keeping that. I like it. And I suppose if I ever had to, it could work as sort of a green screen. I could do it with a blue screen if I had to. I don't know if I really would do that, but anyway. How are you and the household holding up during the quarantine? I'm kind of bored. I'm trying to be good, I'm not going out. There's stuff to do. There's definitely stuff to do. I just I wish I could socialize a little bit more. Today, Chrissy and I went on a walk through our neighborhood. Not like we didn't go to a park or anything where there'd be lots of people. We just went on a walk through our neighborhood just so that we could get out of the house, get some exercise, get some fresh air. And it felt good, but I miss my friends and coworkers. I definitely do. So that's kind of frustrating. Thank you for introducing me to so many great comics. I picked up some American Splendor books after. That's great. American Splendor is really interesting stuff. How tough are the puzzles that you recently worked with? Pretty tough. Hey, it's Daniel. Daniel is Daniel Carhoon there, and I might be mispronouncing his name because I've only ever talked with him online. But Daniel is a comic book writer from Sweden. Are you from Sweden, Daniel? And he has a graphic novel that's available through Amazon called Wolina. It's takes place on a snowman's planet. It's actually really cool. And I did some lettering on a comic book that he created, and I think he's still working on getting a publisher for it. But I can tell you this: he hired some really talented artists, and it's funny. It's funny and exciting. So Daniel's a really nice guy who's been boosting my signal for the show since almost day one. I really appreciate it. Let's see. They don't have Discord, Facebook, or Skype to talk through. Oh, my friends? Yeah, no, we do, but it's not the same. I like being in person, that's all. Hello, Kirk. See, Najiad says, I'm glad one of us is looking forward to the Morbius movie. I'm a Morbius fan, and I'm terrified that the movie will screw it up. I have to admit, my expectations for the Morbius movie are not high at all. That does not look very interesting to me. Morbius is kind of an okay character here and there. I liked his first appearances when he was fighting a six-armed Spider-Man. That was a weird time for Spider-Man. But I also really liked how Rick Remender and Tony Moore used him in the Frankencastle arc on Punisher. I thought that he was interesting there. And he's also pretty cool in the early issues of the Midnight Suns crossover, although that some of that could be nostalgia talking. Okay, I did pronounce Daniel's name correctly, and he is from Sweden. I'm glad I'm remembering some of this stuff correctly. It's late, and I'm drinking. Morbius should look scary. He's the living vampire. He should look ugly. I saw Bloodshot, James. Apparently that was the last movie I saw in the movie theaters before Hollywood shut down. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It actually wasn't bad at all. I mean, it was far from great, but I didn't think it was like embarrassing or like too schlocky or anything. I thought it was a pretty entertaining movie and some interesting characters. The computer whiz sidekick that he gets, like, about 2/3 of the way through the movie, starts stealing the show. He's a pretty great character, and that was fun. I definitely recommend it. I feel bad for the movie that how popular is it? Like, how does it hold up on its own merits? Got pulled out of theaters before it was even in there for a week, essentially. And through no fault of its own, that's just the world that we're in. Will that kill a valiant cinematic universe? I don't know. Maybe they'll give it another shot because they just don't know how it would do. Sonic was the last movie I saw in theaters. Honestly, not too bad. Okay. Tobias might give Morbius a chance because it has Matt Smith. I can understand that. Although Matt Smith definitely didn't really add anything to one of those Terminator movies. Which one was that? Genesis. Ugh. Guessing pretty run-of-the-mill diesel flick. Good action. It was good action. It was good action. It was pretty cool special effects. They did some pretty gnarly stuff to Bloodshot himself. There's some cool sci-fi twists to some of it. So I liked it. It wasn't great, but it was pretty cool. I didn't see what do you call it, Sonic. I didn't have a lot of interest in that. I can't call myself a big Sonic fan. I tried. I played like Sonic 2 and 3, 1, 2, and 3, like back in the day on the Genesis, but that's about it. Hello, Sansanity. Mill Diesel. Yeah, it's Mill Diesel. It's not the Vin Diesel movie I wanted to see. I was kind of excited for the ridiculousness of what I could call it? Fast and Furious 9. I was going to call it Fate of the Furious. That was the last one. Fast and Furious 9. That looks pretty dope. What else can I show you that's in here? It's not that much that's that interesting. I've got like random weird things around here, but I don't think most of it would be all that exceptional. I've got Infotron in the corner there, but I don't want to walk past my lights that I've set up right now. I've got some Lego sets, and then I've got some stuff that I need to give to my friends. Found this really weird Godzilla book at a comic book store or something, and it's in Japanese, so it's really like it's written like a technical manual on how to take him down, which is kind of weird. But I've got a friend that's a massive fan of Godzilla, and this was only a couple dollars, so I picked it up for him. So I've always got weird things in this studio, and I also always have like lots of little alcohol things from previous episodes because I'll like drink half of it and then won't finish it. It's not all stuff that I want to finish. The Invisible Man, yeah. Oh, you didn't like it? I liked The Invisible Man. I will say that. How long have you had the TMNT classic video game? About a week. Built it about a week ago. Let's see what else. What arcade games have you played besides TMNT? I played lots of them over the years. You know, back in the day, I really liked playing this one when I was a kid. This was my favorite. But what else did I play? Simpsons was around the same time. I like kind of beat 'em up games. I have to admit for arcades. I also like like the ones where you've got a gun and you're shooting it at. Like there's so many that I've played, but I'm not much of an expert. I'm not like necessarily good. But yeah, you can play as like all four characters, which is fun. Someday I'll have to have some friends over and we'll play through it. The Enterprise manuals, yeah. Old Hooch. That's it. That's it. I have a bunch of magazines and photo books about Godzilla that are in Japanese. That's cool. I like that stuff. I really do. Sunset Riders, Turtles in Time, and the Simpsons games were my favorite arcade games. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I guess it just hit me at the right time, you know? That's mostly what it was. There. Look at all these foot guys. Ah! One thing that's kind of fun about having it as an arcade, you can challenge yourself, but you can always give yourself extra lives by hitting this player button. It just goes up, up, up. So you can like have infinite continues, just like pumping quarters into it. You can also like hold down a button if you want to like reset it. So you can also skip levels or skip back in levels. So it's kind of a fun little thing. The old Punch-Out video game, sure. My movie theater had that Terminator light gun game, so much fun. I love that stuff. Yeah, Terminator. There's a current one for Rambo that's really fun. I like things like Time Crisis. What was my favorite Ninja Turtles movie? Favorite is the first one, 1990. While some of that's nostalgia, I also think it holds up pretty well. I recently rewatched it, recently being like maybe like 5-6 months ago. So, I mean, it's not that recent. And I was like, yeah, this is still a pretty darn good movie. I like the characters. I thought that the action was pretty good. You know, I think that they could make a good Ninja Turtles movie now, and they just haven't in a while. Yeah, I wish it was good. Yeah, this thing is a build. This thing, you can buy these. They're from what is it called? Arcade One Up. Arcade One Up. You can buy them. You can buy them, but you have to put it together. You build it. Did I ever watch the 70s Godzilla cartoon by Hanna-Barbera? I have. Not my favorite part of Godzilla, but Godzilla has a lot of good stuff and a lot of really bad stuff. And in the end, I love it all. Good morning from Maryland. Just woke up between sleeps to find you streaming. Oh, get some sleep, man. It's okay. You don't have to be up for this. Nothing important is being discussed here. I promise. I'm just having fun. Hello, James. Let's say, I remember you rewatching the Turtle movie on YouTube. Yeah, that's right. One of my early episodes was looking at a more recent IDW Ninja Turtles comic with my friend Hallie, and then we watched. What did we watch both 2 and 3? I can't even remember. I think we rewatched 3 together, and then we watched. She really wanted to see the Vanilla Ice dance scene in 2. That was fun. I don't know about the site limited run games. No, that's Godzuki was hilarious. What comic got you into comics? Transformers. It was just what I was really into as a kid, and I found a Transformers comic, and it was interesting. It was more Transformers, so I would go to the convenience store to get like more of those, but I was like, yeah, it's only okay. And there were like all these really interesting looking ones. And I picked up a Spider-Man one, which was actually the first part of the Kraven's Last Hunt storyline. And it's a pretty great comic to find early on. It really is, because it's got that great Mike Zeck artwork. It's a powerful story with really great characterization. J.M. DeMatteis, great writer. I lucked out. I lucked out with a really strong Spider-Man story, and that kind of hooked me more. Okay, Daniel says I did watch Ninja Turtles 3. Ooh, bad movie, bad movie. Yeah, I have seen that episode of Power Rangers teaming up with the Ninja Turtles. Painful, painful. Awesome shirt. Yeah, I think this is at GameStop, although GameStop not in business. Did you guys hear about this? So, just in case anybody's in a different state and hasn't heard about it, or different country and hasn't heard, here in the U.S., most of our states are shutting down any business that is not considered essential. Essential stuff is like, food and medicine and stuff like that. Certainly not video games, but GameStop decided to fight that one. They said, no, we are essential. They tried to stay open anyway, and the government shut them down hardcore. And it's like, dudes, I know you're struggling because we can all just basically download our video games now. We don't have to go to a store and buy a physical copy anymore. I get it, like that you're hurting. But how did you think that that was going to play out for you? Like, first of all, I don't see how you can justify a video game as essential. Like, it's called a game. By definition, that's not essential, I don't think. But even getting past that, maybe you're like, nope, people have to have their entertainment to survive. Okay. How little, though, do they care about their employees and their customers to stay open during this time? Because it's just rude. It's just rude. Yeah, why would they even try? They would try because they're hurting. They need every dollar they can get. All the comic shops are closed, yeah. Well, you know what? Like, the comic shops had to close, but it's more serious than that. Diamond Distribution, which is basically the only person that distributes comics to comic book stores and places that sell comics, the only one that takes it from the printer and delivers it to the store, they shut down. So, no distribution. And I know at least DC Comics' main printer, Transcom, also shut down. No printing. So on Twitter, I saw a lot of professionals for the mainstream publishers saying that they were told, pencils down, we're going on hiatus. So comics aren't stopping, but a lot of mainstream American comics are. So we're gonna have a break from new comics. But there's a lot of old stuff to say, and hopefully my show can introduce you to at least some of that. There's a lot of stuff that you can still, have your comic store maybe put aside for you. There's digital versions we can read these days. Amazon still seems to be operating, although I don't know how smart that is. But yeah, a lot of businesses aren't going to survive this. Well, maybe not. There was a stimulus bill passed. This is what we pay taxes for to a degree. Comic sales were up in February. Yeah. People like comics. All I can say is, sometimes when something really bad like this happens, it gives an opportunity to a new player to emerge and a new way of doing things. So there could be every chance that, a new publisher, a new printer, a new distributor could find a new way to do things within comics that really is the way of the future and is more affordable for us potentially. So do I have the answer of what that would be? No, it's just that in the past when we've gone through crises, sometimes some good things come out of it in the end. So there may be some hope for comics in the future that some new things could be tried. Maybe they could try printing stuff on newsprint so that it's cheaper, engage a new audience. And then if it's popular, you can always print on nicer paper for a trade paperback collection. Maybe they'll try some more anthologies that are more affordable. There's a lot of different ways that they could go about this. What was the last Lego set you got before the Lego store got closed? Oh, cool question. What was it? Let me think for a second. What was the last one that I would have built just before the store closed? It would have been something pretty big. Oh, it would have been the Fiat. I built a Fiat car, and I was going to go to the Lego store to get the Harry Potter Hogwarts castle, like the big one, and that day they closed. So Do I have any funny or interesting stories from your time as a real life superhero? So many, Emmanuel. So many. I really want to do a comic book where I legit just tell my nonfiction stories of the insanity that I encountered going out there and patrolling with Phoenix Jones and the others. I would probably change their names and likenesses for the purposes of a comic, but the stories would be true. There's just so much to say. What was your job? Well, I mean, I still have my job. I'm a car salesman, but it is not considered essential. So right now we're closed for at least 2 weeks. I've heard of Hoopla. Yeah, libraries use something called Hoopla, and you can get comics through it. Yeah, digital comics. You can, like, anybody here that has a library card, you can read so many digital comics for free. So many. So check with your library if they use Hoopla. They may still be able to use that during this time when some of these places are closed. You're just like that guy from Kick-Ass. I got beaten up less. I can at least say that. But I also wasn't like fighting ninja style with people and stuff. So, you know. But yeah, I moved to a new city. I didn't really know anybody. I'd met Phoenix once or twice for some interviews. He was the only guy I knew, and so I was going out with him, and I was like, all right, if I'm hanging out with him, I may as well give this a shot. And yeah, I bought body armor, and at the time, I'd been working out a lot. When I met him, I had been doing I did the insanity workout every single day for an hour, and then I would see a personal trainer at night for another hour. So, and I had also been doing Krav Maga for a few years, so I was kind of like at my peak athleticism at that point. So I guess I just sort of felt more empowered when I decided to do that. Obviously, I'm really not in that same shape these days. But this being cooped up is making me feel like I want to do more push-ups and running and stuff. So we'll see. Did I ever meet someone like Hit Girl? Phoenix Jones himself. He is a mixed martial artist, MMA pro. He's a pretty impressive guy. He's pretty athletic. So yeah, he could do some impressive stuff. Flips and throw a really good punch. How expensive was it? It wasn't that expensive. I mean, there was the initial investment of basically just I got a jacket and a mask, which wasn't that much. And but I did buy myself the most expensive body armor, like bulletproof and stab proof vest that you could get. So that was several $100s, but that is okay. What inspired you to make the channel? Oh, that was, hold on. So it's all sort of tied together. I mean, I moved out here to the Seattle area a little over 6 years ago for a new job. It's a great job. Paid more responsibility, a lot of good stuff. My fiance's parents live in Seattle, so she loved the idea of moving back here, and they paid to move us across the country. So it was a great opportunity. Unfortunately, after a few years, they downsized. I got laid off along with a lot of other people in a department, or through the whole company, really. And I didn't have another thing lined up right away. And I was like really depressed. I suffer from depression already. And getting laid off at like my age was a huge blow. I was literally suicidal. And I did try to kill myself once during that time, which I'm not proud of. But anyway, I needed a project. I was like, this could be a while until I get my next job. I need a project. And I was like, well, what do I like doing? I love comics. I've always loved comics. There's other people out there. It's a crowded marketplace, but I'll at least have fun doing it. So I started a YouTube channel and just decided I was going to talk about comics, talk about what I love, talk about why I love that medium and what you can do with it. So that was the origin. Pepper spray. I did have pepper spray, I think, at the time. I think I had like A pepper spray. I had a taser. I didn't have like a lot of like offensive weaponry. I mean, I definitely never wanted to go out with like a gun or a knife or anything like that. I was just like, nah, that's I'm like, that's not heroic. Yeah. Do I regret time as Omega? Not it's not a regret because I never did anything that I'm ashamed of. I did help people, I helped a lot of people actually. Like, just like people that had like fallen down or even got hit by cars, and I would be there to administer some first aid or call the police. I broke up fights. I legit like interceded in fist fights and broke them up. And I helped somebody that was, that his girlfriend had gotten lost in the city. She didn't speak English, and I found her and reunited her with her boyfriend. That was all stuff that I did during that time that I am proud of. So I'm not like ashamed of anything I did there. I didn't do anything crazy, like, just beat up a homeless guy or something crazy like that. I didn't do anything like that. So do I regret it? No. But did I become disillusioned with it? Absolutely. I was like, okay, this isn't really inspiring anyone to be better. And I could help all these people without a costume. I could still just like, be ready to do homeless handouts. I still do that. I'll still give out food and stuff to homeless people. And if I see a fight or somebody get hurt, I don't pause. I run in and help. That's just what I do. But I didn't feel I needed the mask for it. So I got disillusioned, I would say. Thanks, Kirk. I nearly killed myself too. I tried to jump my bike over a fence when I was a kid. Eesh. Glad that you're still with us, Jack. Thanks, Iron Shell. Appreciate the compliment. Why is it always the most likable people tend to suffer with depression? I don't know. Mine's pretty bad. Mine is pretty bad, but that's all right. I'm doing all right now. I did dumb things too when I was little. I used to climb trees and stuff. Oh, we all did, huh? Yeah. I look back at some of the things I did when I was young, and I'm just like, man, I'm just so lucky that things didn't go bad. Climbing trees for sure. I was also really into rock climbing when I was 18, and I've got some photos where I'm like, I should have had ropes on or something, and I didn't. I was climbing up stuff that was like, 60, 80 feet high. And if you fell from there, that's it. So that was kind of dumb, but yeah, I was lucky. Is there anything you've been reading recently to get through the quarantine? Today I caught up on a bunch of comics. I caught up on Immortal Hulk and X-Men by Hickman. I've also got some other stuff to read. I've got Superman Defeats the Klan by Gene Yang. Yeah, Gene Yang. And I've got Ice Cream Man by Image. So I've got a few things like that. If you have a cell phone, it's easy to help people now. It takes a few seconds to call the police or fire department. Exactly. Anyway, Marvel or DC? Yeah, they're both fun. Both fun. Although these days I definitely tend to go towards more the creator-owned stuff. So Image and Dark Horse and Boom and Dynamite are all a little more interesting to me. Here I'm Lacey, staying home and reading my kiddos some comics. That's awesome, Jason. That's great. What is your opinion on 5G, if that's still happening? Are you talking about like cell phones? I guess I don't know. Wait, I missed something from Daniel. What did you just say? Oh, can I not scroll up? Hold on. I think I can. Did you ever play with action figures out when you were outdoors as a kid? Yes, I definitely did, Daniel. And I lost some figures. Boy, so when I was really little, I had a very few Star Wars figures. Not many. I never had many. But one that I loved was Yoda. I thought he just looked cool. And I would carry it with me. And one time we were playing with some friends, and we were like playing out by some like sand hills and stuff. And we pretended like that was Dagobah, and I like buried Yoda just like an inch or something, but I buried him like there'd been a landslide. And then I went to get him out, and I couldn't find him. and I never did. And I'm still kind of devastated. Like, there's something sad about that. But I played with Star Wars and sometimes some G.I. Joes outside. It was great. What's my most treasured comic? It might be like Tick number 1 or something. That like meant a lot to me to find out that a guy just a couple years older than me from like just a couple towns over was making comic books. That was Ben Edlund. So that meant a lot to me. That was very inspirational to me that like anyone could do this. So the Tick, and I really like the Tick. So that one carries a lot of weight. 5G is like the new generation in DC Comics. Oh, I guess I did hear a little bit about that, but I haven't kept up to date, so I don't know. Micronauts figures. I never had those, but they looked cool. I didn't have that many toys as a kid. Maybe that's why I got some more now. I know I've told you this before, and I don't want to bother you, but please catch up on Zdarsky's current run on Daredevil. You won't regret it. All right, I appreciate the recommend. I really do. I will definitely try to keep that in mind. Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. Noted. Anyway, I think I'll probably... well, there's somebody else that agrees with Naj that Zdarsky's Daredevil's great. I think I'll take off. I was really just doing a test, but it was fun to chat with everybody. Who do you consider the worst superhero? 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. Pretty bad. Although, what was it? The guy, Captain Fearless, was up there too. I did an episode about that. You know what? I haven't done that in a while. I'll see if I can find another weirdo Golden Age hero and maybe do an episode about that sometime soon. But I'm going to take off, folks. It was fun chatting with you across all these different platforms. Thanks for confirming that this worked. I'll definitely try to do a couple more of these while we're all shuttered. But anyway, let's see. The worst comic you've ever read? Probably Civilian Justice. All right. See y'all. You guys are great. Take care. Wash your hands. Social distancing. Keep reading comics. Take care.